would like to tell you about I'm going to tell you a story about my experience in California. I moved to San Diego and lived in a house with friends. It was in the fall of '93. Around November, I noticed my friends get apple trees. Beautiful red, green, yellow colors. They were beautiful. So I got an idea, and I collected them all. And when it was cold, would decide to cook chili. So I collected them, came inside. The apple trees were outside. I collected all the apples and washed them and dried them and set them aside. I cut them open and gathered all the seeds and threw them away. I cut them in half and threw the seeds all away. I did a big pile. My hands started to feel hot and dry, so I took a break to wash my hands. After washing my hands, I continued. I kept having to take a break to wash my hands because my hands were they felt kind of and fiery. So I kept washing and scrubbing my hands. They felt dry, but I didn't put on lotion yet. I just kept adding on and adding on and adding on and adding on. I'm mistaken. I said apples before, and I meant hot peppers. There was red and yellow and green hot peppers. The trees were outside. And they were beautiful. Not apples. I apologize. I decided to fill up a bowl of water, warm water, and put my hands in there to soak. Best decision. I felt so much better. About an hour later, I took my hands out and they felt so much better. So I decided to put on some lotion. My hands still felt like they were on fire, so I kept washing them, kept putting them in the bowl with the water, kept doing this. My hands just were not feeling so good. Later on, my friends came home and I asked them how people in California solved this issue, how they protected their hands and kept them from being dry, and even if they got dry, how they resolved it. My friends told me to call like a healthcare clinic. Maybe a nurse could give me advice on how to help my hands. We talked about this for a long time, and they said maybe the nurse can give you some advice on how to take care of it. So I called and I waited for a couple minutes. They told me to put some meat tenderize on it, or tenders on my hands. I never heard of that before, but they told me to try that. I sprinkled some on my hands, and it burned. It was a horrible idea. Horrible. I put my hands back in the water and waited for a little while longer. By this time I was tired. All day I was doing this. I even set up the bowl in the corner and put my hands behind my head. I was just tired. I was getting sick of this. I fell asleep, and then I woke up about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. My hands still felt kind of on fire, so I put my hands back in the bowl and fell asleep. It seemed like the problem was getting a little bit better. When I woke up again in the morning, it seemed like the problem was solved. I learned my lesson. Whenever you're going to cut something, use gloves. Make sure that you use gloves on your hands.